edition of Wings Weekly. Jay Kleinknecht along with head coach Francis Anzalone. And coach, we've got a handful of games, 3 games there since we spoke last on a Wings Weekly program. And well, it seems like there's been a lot of these midweek games here lately, and I'm not sure what the deal is with the scheduling of that this year, but it makes for some interesting challenges for sure. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit about that Wednesday night game up in Bismarck that resulted in a 3-1 loss on the empty netter. But a game that had some ups and downs, but certainly it seems like every time you guys play Bismarck, it's become much more competitive and a little bit flat in the first period perhaps. The second, things heated up, and then in the third, it definitely caught fire. But every time that that the Bobcats and the Wings have met, especially over the last probably 4 or 5 times, it seems like the intensity is building, and the level of play is a little more even than perhaps it was towards the beginning of the year. And you see them, I believe, 4 more times before the end of the year. Can we talk a little bit about that game and what you take away from it?
Yeah, it was a flat game to start for both teams. There wasn't a whole lot going on in the first 10, 11, 12 minutes. And then we made a mistake that we talked pregame about not making with how they are in the offensive zone. We just had an individual mental lapse. We gave up a backside goal, which we don't normally give up. We got down 1-0. And then their power play's been real good against us, but I actually liked our kill against them. They scored on their first power play opportunity. They made a really good individual play across our box, which has been getting more aggressive lately, to then go up 2-0. In the second period, I thought we controlled the play by a hair, and then I thought in the third we were real good in terms of our work ethic, our battle level, our want to. We had a power play goal called back that I disagree with. I disagreed with it on the bench. I disagree with it more after looking at it on tape. Crummy break for us. I like that we scored a 6-on-5 goal because we've been trying to improve our play with the extra attacker. Of course, we don't want to be in that situation, but you need to have a good plan and you need to have good jump with the 6-on-5. We had a lot of really good scoring chances with the 6-on-5, even when they then scored the empty netter to go up 3-1. So I liked our fight. I liked our snarl. I did not like our start. I'm not sure they liked their start, except the fact that they got out to a 2-0 lead. All in all, not a great game both ways, but it had some pace. And by the third period, we played with a blue-collar attitude that we need to play with every night, especially against them. So some good things, some not so good things. A lot that we could take and build on for Friday, though.
Absolutely. Well, and speaking of Friday, of course, Minot in the ODI Center, and it was the first time in 5 games that your Wings have been home in front of the hometown crowd. Now, I believe 1,356 people in the building, and it was a real boisterous, excited crowd on Friday night, and the boys came out and played with a lot of heart and got things going early. Just 3 minutes in, they get a goal past the new goalkeeper for Minot. So again, you talked about that blue collar kind of ethic and work ethic. It seemed to transition over to Friday night, and there was a lot of energy, a lot of excitement. In between periods, I think Coach Gratton said that maybe it was even a little too much because it was a little chaotic to start with. But boy, there were bodies flying all around, and puck definitely, it was a bit of a track meet on all ends of the ice. So can you talk a little bit about Friday's game?
Yeah, I thought we played very well. I thought we worked really hard. It was the fastest I've seen our team play in terms of transitioning the puck and having the giddy up to get up and down the rink. I thought we really skated. We tried to dictate the pace of the play. We were very physical. We had 21 hits in the first period. That was an emphasis going into the game. We had a good number of scoring chances. The chances balanced out to be relatively even. I liked our shots on goal totals. I liked that we got the first 2 goals. We were at the net a lot. What I liked the most about our Friday game was the physical play, because the games against Minot have been tight all season, but they've been low chance, low scoring, and very tight checking. The Friday game, we tried to play with more pace, and I think that was a real good step for our group. It did not end the way we liked. But what I liked about our game is I liked that we kept playing. We kept trying to push the pace. We kept trying to score. We gave up a goal in the third. We got right back. We got another one. And then in overtime, we had the first 2 real good scoring chances. And then they scored on a 2-on-2 rush that We practice it all the time. We work on it Monday through Thursday all the time. But for some reason, it was 3-on-3 overtime, and we thought we should play it a little bit differently just because there were less people on the ice and the stakes were a little bit different, and that's a mistake. So, good things on Friday. Losing stinks. But I was really, really happy with the effort and the physicality of our guys. I thought we played with a lot of spirit.
Yeah. You're up 3-2 with, I think, 26 seconds left of the regulation period, and they get their, with the empty net and the extra attacker on, they get the goal to tie it up and go to overtime. So you get a point, but that is now the 8th overtime loss and 12th total overtime game for your team, which I know for overtime losses it's the most in the league, but I believe 12 is above everybody else in the league as well. Interesting, because I brought it up that I almost wonder if at some point there's going to get to be an advantage for your Wings, because they are so used to playing these overtime games, and getting more and more of that experience with the 3-on-3 and so on. I mean, is there any grain of truth to that, do you suppose?
Well, maybe. The 3-on-3 thing is tough for me to explain because we're getting the early scoring chances in the overtime in a lot of these games that we've lost. And we're not finishing, we're not burying. And overtime is all momentum.
Yeah.
If you don't score on your chances, they're then going to get 1 or 2 or 3. And you're kind of in the prevent defense mode at that point. Like, you get a chance, I get a chance. That's just how overtime goes. There's no other way to play 3-on-3. You can attempt to try to hang on the puck for the entire 5 minutes and play for the shootout. But, I mean, at some point, if you get a 2-on-1, you got to try to score.
Right.
I liked us. I mean, we walked in off of an ozone face-off that we won. We had a clear-cut chance. 2 of the shifts in overtime, we went with 2D and a forward. We tried that because some of our better skaters are defensemen. And we put 2 defensemen on the ice for that situation that we encountered that Minot scored on. So when they're coming at us, who better understands how to play a rush than defenseman? But unfortunately, our D that was on the ice, he didn't see hockey. He saw 3-on-3. He created something different in his mind, and he played a 2-on-2 rush differently. I mean, the 2-on-2 is practice. The 2-on-2 is the game. But he just, for whatever reason, he made a mistake that he doesn't normally make. Right. And that's how it goes. It's momentum swings. And you really have to peel back the layers to see this. I know a fan might not see it, but we're doing some things better in 3-on-3. We're winning more draws. Instead of placing pucks to change people, we're holding on to it. You might notice in the 3-on-3, our defenseman pulled the puck back. 2 of our forwards changed. The defenseman moved the puck. Problem is, he didn't change. Yeah. He stayed on. So we're still working out some of the kinks. We're getting good looks. We need to bury those looks right when we get them. That is easier said than done. But the other thing, don't give up the goal with 30 seconds left. To my not, you don't even have to talk about overtime. And that was just a weird jam goal around the paint. So I'm saying a whole lot. I don't know if I'm saying a whole lot of anything right now, but that's how it goes with 3-on-3. It's a tough thing to dissect. Some teams are really good at it. Some teams are fighting to find their way. We're one of those teams.
Well, and it's one of those things that, as you mentioned, I mean, I did notice, for example, that instead of the dump and change, that you're backpedaling and keeping control of the puck rather than, because those possessions are so crucial in the 3-on-3. I guess moving on to then Saturday night. And Saturday night, as you mentioned, these 2 teams, when they played each other, have been very tight games. And Saturday night definitely was no exception to that rule. I think it felt very much more tight, but that's kind of typical of a second game, of a doubleheader like that too. But an interesting game there, and a lot of weird things. I mean, I think there were 4 shots that are off the post. One of which was a wide open, 3 feet on the side of the net from out at the point, but it just, off the post, and some weird things happening in that one too. And what do you take away from Saturday's game?
I thought we worked really hard again. I mean, it was our 3rd game in 4 days. We didn't talk about that in the room, but that's just reality. It was our 3rd and 4. I thought we had a lot of pop. I thought in the 3rd period we got a little bit tired. Maybe the 2 and then 3 goal deficit, tough hill to climb, that tires the mind a little bit. But I thought we worked really hard. We were physical again. We played with pace. They were a hair better than us. I would say in the first period. We were really good in the second. We had some unbelievable grade A scoring chances. I define scoring chances maybe a little bit differently than some coaches. I counted 15 for us. That's the most number of chances we've had in 2 years against Minot. I mean, we got to the net. I mean, we had clear 1-on-0 looks on the goalie that we worked hard to create. But again, and I know this sounds like a broken record, and you're probably getting sick and tired of hearing this, but it's the truth. We didn't finish. And we had so many great A's in not just the first, but especially the second. We outshot them. I think it was like, what was it, like 14-7 or 14-6 or something like that in the second.
Yep.
And they score 2 goals on 6 or 7 shots, and we get, donut on 14 or 13. We've got to find a way to finish, and that's, a big part of what we're going to be working on this week and the next few weeks, because we don't have any midweek games. We'll have full weeks of practice. Is just the skills that you need to finish and the things you need to do to finish, and we're trying to recreate as many of those scoring chances in practice while recognizing practice isn't the game. You don't have the crowd, you don't have the referee, you don't have the other bench. The back pressure is your teammate in practice. It's not a Minot player or a Bismarck player. So we've got some work to do, but there's lots of positives. I'd rather get chances than not get chances. We've got to find a way to convert some of these grade A looks that we're getting and earning into goals, so we can play with the lead or not be down 2-0 going into the third.
Absolutely. Well, we'll talk a little further about that coming up after this message from our sponsor.
Let's make a taco. No, seriously. Start with a tortilla, soft tortilla, warm it, kiss it, don't kiss it. Chicken? How about tequila lime chicken? Now we're cooking. Slice this, peel that, snip those. Salsa? Verde. Cheese? Cotija. Oh, forgot to mention. Guac. That's better. See, anyone can make a taco, but we're not anyone. We're Qdoba, and these are knockout tacos. Qdoba Mexican Eats. Choose flavor.
Welcome back to Wings Weekly with Coach Anzalone, of course, and Coach will continue on here. One of the things that you touched on, and I guess earlier on I mentioned too, of that midweek games and so on. I wanted to talk a little about that this is the first time that you guys are done with the game Saturday night and don't see an opponent until that following Friday, and I have a full week of practices. It's been quite a while since your team has not had to worry about an opponent midweek or have some sort of other distraction, whether it's a holiday or during the break or whatever it might be. How does that change things?
Well, it's exciting as a coach because this is the first time that we won't encounter midweek games since October. We had midweek games in November. It was a tough month. We had one midweek game in December, and then we had the 8-day break. And then January was a really busy month on the road. Now, I like the midweek games. It changes up the routine. Players love to play. But I also like practice too. And this couldn't come at a better time. I remember when the schedule came out, sitting around in August, we were putting the plan together for the season. And our hope was, we have a younger team. We don't have a lot of, those 20, 21-year-olds. So our thought is when other teams may be getting tired or maybe a little bit bored of their routine, we're hoping that we have a lot of pop right now, a lot of jump. And with the way we've tried to create our culture, we try to get players excited about practice. We don't do a lot of the same things in practice. We like to keep it fresh. Our staff, I think, does do a fair job of finding ways to practice things differently to just keep it fresh, because freshness is really important, I think, with this generation today.
Yeah.
So like talking to the players today in our morning meeting, we have 5 weeks now where we will have an opportunity to practice if we want, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We'll get back into our weight room routine, and this is no joke, there were a lot of smiles in the room.
Yeah.
This group likes coming to the rink every day. They like coming to practice. They like their routine. So I am hoping that, as we've shown improvement through practice, we can work on these things, these scoring chances that we're getting, the skills related to finishing, and start to bury more of these. Because we had 15 chances on Saturday, like I said. We're not going to score on 10 of them. I get it. But Jay, just one goal.
Yeah.
And it's maybe 1-0 Aberdeen, or 1-1 or 2-1, and it's different going into the third. If we can turn 1 or 2 of these chances into goals, it's going to make a huge difference. Just like if we could take a bite out of Minot, Austin, and Bismarck, with the success we've had against Brookings, and we play the Magicians here soon. I mean, it's really a difference of 4, 6, 8 points.
It is.
Makes a huge difference. It's that close. Let's get excited about it.
Yeah, you're 4 points out of a playoff spot right now. 4 points behind Brookings and just 2 behind the Magicians. So Yeah, a very again courtesy of a very tight Central Division, which is all the teams are play each other tough for sure, but it does create well some hope rather than being the Kenai River Brown Bears and having 7 points on the season and 3 wins. It's an entirely different thing. Obviously, you're still very much in the hunt. But what do you have to do as a team to, I guess, come on a little stronger down the stretch? You talked about the scoring chances and how they're there. How can you generate more of them, and B, capitalize and finish on those chances that you do have?
Well, if you don't work hard as a team and you don't play fast and you don't build your game from your net on out, you're probably not going to get the scoring chances to begin with. And that part of our game's pretty good. Like I said to you in the first segment, I thought we played fast and with good pace both nights against Minot. Now, sometimes you give up a little too when you do that, because when it gets fast, it also gets a little messy. But as I've said to you before, I'd rather tame the tiger than the alternative. So I think we're going to show some of the scoring chances now, just as we're talking. There's a couple things that you have to look at with scoring chances, in my opinion. One, are you hitting the net with your shot? 2, are you getting your shot off quickly? And 3, are there people at the cage? And some of these chances here that are playing right now as we're talking, we're standing right alone with the goalie, and we're doing everything but score. Like these looks from Jackson Grallum. I mean, he is right alone in front. He's getting the shot off quick, and Gunnar Rivers is making the save. The Colin Raver one, he makes a great move with his hands. He snaps it. Gunnar Rivers makes the save. I'm not sure there's much more you can do in these circumstances. Now, there's also chances where you get a good bit in front, but the forward that passed it is maybe 8 feet, 6 feet, too much to the outside. He needs to be right in the goalie's wheelhouse, because the puck might bounce to him. He's got to have his stick down, put it back on the net, it's going in, or you're going to create another chance, or the goalie's going to make an unbelievable highlight reel save, and Rivers had a few of them this weekend. So we have to make sure we're shooting quick, we're hitting the net with our shots, and we're at the cage by committee. The Friday night goals we score, we were at the net. Like this goal right here from Friday night that's playing right now, it's the Grallum goal. Look at everybody at the net. It's a really, really good sight. You get rewarded. Look at Minot's goals on Saturday. Let's take a page out of their book. They weren't the prettiest goals. We could have prevented them. Your goalie's the last line of defense. They're competitive guys. They want them back. But they're goofy goals, Jay, but their guys are at the cage. So we have to work on that. And we'll be working on that just about every day in practice this week, with the hope of making it translate on Friday night. But I can't stress this enough. If you're not working hard as a team, if you're not playing fast, and if you're not playing great away from the puck, the chances are almost irrelevant. So we got to keep that part of our game intact, and we got to find a way to just turn some of these chances into goals, and it will change the complexion of the game completely.
Well, interesting. I appreciate the analysis, because it is interesting, and I think fans want to know that what constitutes a grade A scoring chance or a good scoring chance versus just a shot on goal, because there's a lot of discussion that can be had there too. I was looking at some statistics over the weekend, and shots on goal. There are 4 teams in the league that have seen more shots than they've taken that are actually on goal. And 2 of them are in the Central Division. And overall in the Central Division, the shots on goal are lower than everybody else in the entire NAHL. And I got to thinking about why that would be. And I think it's just simply because the teams are A, more evenly matched, and B, the guys are down in the slot, getting bodies in front, and the shots just aren't getting through to the goaltender. Is one of the theories that I had, is that they're better defended. What are your thoughts on that?
This is tight. The division's tight. The teams are well coached. The players are good. The players are strong. It's hard to score in hockey everywhere now. I mean, I'm sure you're following it in the NHL. Do we make the nets bigger? Brian Burke just came out 2 weeks ago. We should expand the rink to a 200 by 100 sheet, make the goalie equipment smaller. I mean, there's so many ideas. You can't ice the puck when you're on the penalty kill or something like that. I mean, scoring is down everywhere, but the games to me are still exciting. I mean, even the game Wednesday night in Bismarck was a little bit flat, but there was still good pace to the game. Guys were still trying. So I think it's very hard to score in this division. I mean, the defensemen are tough in front of the net. The gaps are tight. I don't know, maybe that's something for the fans to watch a little more closely next time they watch us play. The gaps are tight. The defensemen are tight to the forwards. You really got to get the puck in behind. So it's hard to score. One other thing I failed to mention to your question, what can we do? We have to get the power play going. The power play got key opportunities to go to work at key moments in the game on Saturday. And we weren't very good. And we've got to be better. So we'll work at that this week. I liked our penalty kill this weekend. We were more aggressive.
Yep.
If you noticed, we were more after it on the forecheck versus standing around in the zone. And the night, Jay, that the kill is 100% can't be the night the power play is 0. I mean, you look at our 4-0 win in Brookings a couple weeks ago. Remember that game? The PK was like 3 for 3, and the power play was 2 for 5. When the kill's 100, and the power play is 15, 20, 25, those are nights you should win. We got to get the power play going on the night the kill's going and vice versa.
Absolutely. All right, well, Coach, we're back in action up in Minot again for a doubleheader up in the Mesa Ice Arena in Minot this coming weekend. So obviously, I'm not going to really ask you about what to expect from Minot because we just saw them in 2 games, and we have a pretty good idea, I think, of what this Minot team can do, and obviously the standings, they're high up, having a good year, so they're going to bring their best game for sure, and I know that your Wings will be ready for it. Remember, folks, you can catch that game at 94.1 The Rock and on fasthockey.com. Friday and Saturday night as the Wings travel to Minot. Thanks for watching and listening, and we'll catch you again next week.